欢迎大家回来。我们即将要开始下一场德国德勒斯登工业大学的说明会。那待会在活动当中，请大家不要忘记将你的问题打在我们 Q&A 的聊天室当中。当然，你可以打英文、打中文。那如果你要打德语的话，当然也可以试试看。我们可以请校代待会来协助我们回答问题。好，那德国德勒斯登工业大学呢，地处在德国最适合居住的城市之一。那这个学校呢，在研究跟教学上面都是顶尖，而且具有高品质的。那他们与文化现代化的这个综合性的多学科的大学，那他们拥有17个学院，那他们提供了广泛跟还有非常多样化的这种课程。那当然也只有德国的这个其他大学能够跟他们匹敌。学校主要是以德语授课，那当然也有一些这个英语的授课的课程可以选择。那这个是他们是一所公立的大学，那是不是要收起这个学校的任何费用？这个我们待会就请学校代表 Julia 来帮我们来做介绍这个德国德勒斯登工业大学学校跟课程的介绍。那学校提供了这个英语授课的课程的介绍，还有申请的要求以及程序、学校生活跟还有费用等等，甚至还有相关的奖学金的资讯。那 Deploy your future。How to 部署你自己的未来，你该如何准备强化专业跟人脉，那以及学校会为我们解说这个国际学生的这个留学跟职涯的方向，以及还有路程要怎么样来规划。那当然邀请大家待会听完之后，请你尽量按着你自己的状况跟情形来询问学校各式各样的问题。那任何问题都请你打在我们待会的 Q&A 的问题栏位当中。那我们现在 Let's welcome Julia.
Hello.
Hi. Welcome.
Hi. Welcome.
Okay.
Hello, everybody.
Hi. So I have been introduced your university, and so maybe we can have a few minutes, and then so you can start to introduce your school.
Of course. Welcome everybody also from my side. Very happy to be here and to speak for quite a lot of you. My name is Julia and I work at TU Dresden in Germany, where I'm responsible for student marketing activities, and that's why I'm here to give you an insight into what you can actually study with us, why it's nice to study in Dresden and to live in Dresden. You can see the city behind me. I also have, we are also going to have a student with us today from TU Dresden. I hope he will join us in a couple of minutes so that we can also ask some questions. And that's also something that I want you to do. And I want to encourage you to ask questions in the Q&A box. And we will try to answer them during the presentation, and especially also after my short introduction to the university and also to our courses. So make sure to pop them into the field so that you don't forget. But let's start with my short introduction. Let me share my screen quickly. Just a second. Okay, brilliant. So yeah. Don't worry, it's going to be not such a long presentation. I brought a lot of pictures, and I'm just trying to give you a feeling for what it's like to study with us and to live in this beautiful city of Dresden. First of all, I brought a slide with a map because I'm not sure whether all of you know where Dresden is actually situated. So you can gather from this map that Dresden is quite central. So we are centrally located in the east of Germany, south from Berlin, and we are the capital city of the Free State of Saxony, one of the 16 federal states of Germany, and we have about 560,000 inhabitants. I know that does not seem too many if you compare it to bigger cities in Taiwan, but for a German city, 500,000 inhabitants is considered quite big. And we are also among the 12 or 13 biggest cities in Germany. So our cities are a bit smaller, but there are many of them. We are well positioned right in the middle of Europe. You can see that from the map. I already mentioned it. And we are also well connected by train, buses, and planes. So if you plan to travel a bit while you're studying with us, there's ample opportunity for that. And then you can get around quickly, especially now after COVID. I mean, it's not really after COVID, but you know what I mean. Buses are going more frequently again. There are a lot of trains going, and so you can just travel and explore Europe also a bit. And we also encourage that during your studies. We are quite close to the Czech and Polish borders. You can also see that on the map. We also have a lot of cooperations with these countries in terms of university cooperations, for example, but also culturally, there's a lot of exchange, and it's really not that far. So if you, for example, want to travel to Prague, the capital city of the Czech Republic, which is very beautiful, it's just 2 hours train ride or even shorter car ride away. And some history. Dresden and also Saxony is a region is a region that has always been known for its inventions and innovation. A lot of cool inventions come from this region. For example, the tea bags in Europe or the coffee filters. The European porcelain was invented in a very small city nearby Dresden. And many other things. You can Google this actually. There's cool videos about that where you can see what kind of inventions come from here. And of course, the university tries to live up to that spirit and continue with it and come up with cool new concepts. Some more facts about Dresden and some nice pictures. You might have heard about Dresden in terms of the architecture or cultural scene. We have a lot of world-renowned museums here, lots of art museums, but also technical museums. The architecture is quite breathtaking. You can see that on the pictures here, the Baroque architecture, but they're also very modern buildings nowadays. And also the history might have something that you've heard about. Dresden was heavily bombed in World War II. So a lot of the nice shiny buildings that you see behind me and also on the pictures down below have actually been rebuilt from ruins after the Second World War. Furthermore, Dresden is a very green and family-friendly city. We have a lot of parks and a big city forest where you can go for a walk, for example, or relax a bit. The Elbe River flows right through Dresden, and the lawns that you can see, that the river banks, they are not built upon. It's very nice, especially in spring and in summertime. And in general, you get a high quality of life at very moderate living costs compared to other German cities of that size. And not only the city is beautiful, but also the surroundings have plenty to offer. I brought one example here. That is a picture from the Elbe Sandstone Mountains, the so-called Saxon Switzerland, which is a small mountain range that we share with the Czech Republic. There's a national park there where you can go hiking. That's very popular, and also mountain climbing if you're interested in that. We also do offer courses for that, so you can learn how to do it properly with instructors at the University Sports Center, and there's a lot of outdoor activities possible. Maybe we can also talk a bit about opportunities for activities like that with our student testimonial later. Let's move on to the university. TU Dresden is one of 11 universities of excellence in Germany today. So we get a lot of extra funding and have special research centers also. And we are also one of the oldest technical universities in Germany. So we were founded in 1828, almost 200 years ago. And traditionally, we have been a university that focused on engineering and sciences. But nowadays, despite our name, we do offer all kinds of courses. So you can do engineering and science programs, of course, but you can also study medicine, for example. You can study at our School for Humanities and Social Sciences, and you can also do courses from our Civil and Environmental Engineering School. If you're interested in finding out more about the programs, we do have a special student information system on our website. So I really recommend checking also our website and the information you can find there, because there is a site dedicated to each program with all the information that you need. And you can also find an overview of all the programs, because I won't tell you the names of all the 125-degree programs that we offer, but we do offer programs on all levels. So you can do bachelor's programs with us, you can do master's programs with us. We do have some special German degrees still. The diploma is one of them. That's a 5 years program equivalent to a master's program. So you get a bachelor and a master in one program. And you can also do your PhD with us in all the scientific areas that we offer. Currently, we have about 30,000 students. Roughly 5,700 are from abroad, so 19%. I checked from Taiwan. We have about 50 students only. COVID brought this number down really largely. We had a bit more before COVID, but I hope we are going to be able to increase the number again now, and things are normalizing themselves a bit. So yeah, let's see. You might wonder, what are the requirements? How can I come there? What do I have to do? First of all, you need a university entrance qualification to apply with us. And that depends on whether you want to come for an undergraduate program, so bachelor's program, or whether you're interested in a master's program. For the master's programs, it's pretty easy to explain. You need a first university degree in your chosen field. So if you're interested in engineering programs in the master's, you need a bachelor in engineering or a first other university degree in engineering. If you're interested in our undergraduate programs, you need your secondary school leaving certificate from Taiwan if you're attending a Taiwanese school. And you need to have at least 53 points in the university entrance examination. Those are the rules for the direct access to our university. Second is the language. So of course you need to speak either German for our undergraduate programs, or you need English for some of our master's programs. So the majority of our programs is offered in German. All the undergraduate programs are in German, but for the masters, there are over 20 programs that are offered in English only. So you can come with a TOEFL or with an IELTS or a Cambridge certificate and various other certificates that we accept to gain access to these programs. For German, you would need, for example, a test of certificate or a Goethe certificate, or also we accept other certificates. For the German level, you need, I would say it's definitely C1 level. For the English programs, it depends a bit on the program. So again, please check on our website for a respective program. The minimum requirements is B2, so that would be 5.5 for IELTS, for example. But there might be programs that require you to have a higher GPA for the IELTS or also for the TOEFL. You need to think about your financial means. How are you going to pay for your studies here in Germany? Because this is necessary for the visa application. If you want to apply for a visa for studying in Germany, you need to tell them, and you need to prove how you're going to finance your studies here and your life here. The good news is we don't have any tuition fees, so you don't have to calculate that into your plans. I will talk about this in a second again. You can prove these. You can prove this by having a scholarship, for example, by the VAD. But you can also use blocked accounts in Germany, blocked bank accounts, and also the DAD in Taiwan can give you advice on that. And you find plenty of information how to do this online. And fourth, of course, you need a strong interest in one of our subjects. If you are interested in a master's program, you need to have previous university education in the same subject. That's also very important to know. You can't switch your majors from your bachelor to the master's. So if you did a bachelor's in German studies, you won't be able to do a master's in engineering. Some of you might laugh about this, but I get this question quite a lot. So you cannot switch, do a major switch between those two levels. I also put down the deadlines for our applications here. For non-EU citizens, it's usually July 15th for all the regular programs. For the English Masters programs, it's May 31st of the same year. So if you want to start in October, most of our programs start in October each year. You apply within the same year on the dates that I mentioned here. Some programs start in the summer semester as well, so they have different deadlines, obviously. But for the majority, you can try to remember it's April to July or May if it's an English Masters that you are interested in. Our applications are usually done via Uni Assist. That's an online platform where you can upload all your documents for the application, and Uni Assist will verify them and will also make a check whether you fulfill all the criteria, and then they will forward us all the applications that are eligible. Why am I mentioning this? Because this costs a small fee for the application, but there are no other application costs that you have to pay to us or any tuition fee later on. I thought to include a quick question session with my testimonial student here today. Maybe you can switch on your camera. I hope you are here. Yes, you are here. And maybe shortly introduce yourself and then answer the question how difficult you found this application process. If you have any tips for applications with TU Dresden.
My name is Jita Wang, yeah, or in Chinese, Wang Zida. And I'm studying one of the English master's program in the TU Dresden. And I think the application process is relatively simple as long as you follow the instructions of the application that you can see in the website of the degree programs of your choice, and just prepare some the required documents like the certificate of your previous university education, and also the required language certificate. It can be the German language or English language like the TOEFL. And I think these two documents are the most important. And so as long as you fulfill all the requirements, if your previous university education match your degree or program you want to pursue further in the TU Dresden, and also your language level is good enough to join the degree program you are in your choice. And so you probably need to upload the PDF file of those required documents, and also you may need to send the documents to Germany, but it depends on the degree program of your choice. So it's better to carefully check the instructions about application for a particular degree or program.
Yes.
So after,
exactly.
Yeah. So after you sending or uploading all the required documents, and now you just need to wait, and maybe depends how early you apply for the degree or program. You may need to wait for several months until you get the answer if you can go to study the degree of program or not. And if you get the mission, then the following is you just need to apply for a visa, the student visa. So I recommend that you make an appointment as early as possible once you get the admission from the TU Dresden, because the waiting time, the processing time of application of student visa can be very long.
That's a very, very good recommendation. Exactly. Thank you very much. And reading instructions is also very, very important. We'll go on from that, and we will hear from you again in a second, probably. I think the next slot is quite soon. So we already talked a bit about all the English programs that we offer. It's getting more and more. So we do have more than 20 now in various fields also. I have not listed all of them, and there will probably also be some more next winter semester, so in 23. But you can see here that they are mostly from sciences. So most of our master's programs in natural sciences are taught in English now. And the other side, on the left-hand side, are mostly programs from environmental engineering or civil engineering. So with some economics sprinkled in, so transportation economics, for example, or also air transport and logistics. Those are kind of mixed programs. We do have a few English programs in engineering. Those are in the middle column, but not as many yet. So if you're interested in our traditional programs like mechanical engineering or electrical engineering, for example, they are taught in German. So for those programs, you would need German, but all that you can see here, and then you can also find under the link listed above, they are taught completely in English and you don't need any German for them. Oh yeah, and a quick remark, I also included a link later on at the end of my presentation where you can download this presentation. So you don't have to take screenshots or whatever. You can just download the presentation later on and then also click on the links that are included here. Sorry that I didn't mention this earlier. Yeah, and I have another question for our student. Why did you choose so you are studying computational modeling and simulation. That's one of the English master's programs. And maybe you can tell a bit about what it's like doing, do they all speak English well? Are there lots of international students? What is it like? And please feel free to answer in Chinese. I won't understand, but all the others will understand you brilliantly.
I'm studying in one of the English master's program. That is the computational modeling and simulation, or CMS. So the reason I chose this master's program of the TU Dresden, before I applied for this particular degree program, I checked the courses they offer and also the opportunities I can have. And I think for students, the most important part is probably that the courses, the courses of the degrees of program. So in a CMS, there are seven tracks, or you can say the 7 different specializations you can choose. For each specific track or specialization, there's a completely different curriculum or completely different courses you can choose from. And so one of the track is the computational engineering. And I found the courses of that track I'm very interested in. And also because after my study, my bachelor study in Taiwan, I know what I want to pursue in the advanced education study. And because I studied mechanical engineering in Taiwan, so I want to further advance my education in computational aspect. So that's why I choose the computational modeling simulation, because they offer one of the specific track I'm interested in, and also what it is like studying in the CMS. Actually, the seven tracks of the CMS program are very different. So, like for example, if you are from the engineering background, you can choose the computer engineering. But if you come from a very different background, like life science, you can also find a place in the CMS because there's a track, computational life science.
So it's very interdisciplinary.
Yes. And also for each specific track, you can find a variety of courses. So I would say, it's a very good opportunity for students from different backgrounds, as long as you want to learn how to simulate the model system using a computer. So I think the computational modeling and simulation will be a good choice. So, for example, one of my Chinese students came from a background in transportation science, and he applied for the track computational engineering. But after one semester, she found that track was not suitable for her. So he made an application for a change to the track. So even if you apply a track and which you found it was not suitable for you afterwards, you can still make a change for a track. So it's very flexible.
Yeah. It's very flexible. Sounds brilliant. I will continue with my presentation and we will hear from you again, and maybe also for the Q&A later. Another thing that I wanted to highlight before I talk about the costs a bit and about living in Dresden is that we do have a big research network in Dresden that we are part of as TU Dresden, the Dresden concept. And that's a project of 33 partners currently. They are all listed below. There are various universities included. There are also a lot of research institutions, lots of Fraunhofer institutions, Max Planck, Helmholtz, and also Leibniz, I think. And they are external research organizations, so they are not part of the university. They get extra funding from the state, but they work very closely with us. And also museums are included in this research network. What they do is they share resources, for example. That's very good if you need a certain type of equipment that another facility has. You can share that. And they also work on projects together and acquire funding, for example. And it's pretty unique. As a student, you would also profit, or you will also benefit from that. That's why I mentioned it here, especially for PhD students, of course. This is very interesting. Let's talk about the costs quickly. I saw that there was also a question about that. As said, we do not charge tuition fees. We are a public university in Saxony. But what we do charge, and every university in Germany does this, is we charge a semester contribution, which pays for concessions in the cafeterias, for example, for student support systems, and mostly for the semester ticket. And the semester ticket is your student ID card that you get from us, which can be used as a ticket for all of the public transport in Dresden. So what you see here in the picture is a tram. We have a vast tram system and network in Dresden. We have a lot of buses. And you can also use all the suburban trains with that, and actually also read all the regional trains in Saxony. So you can also go to the Czech border with that. You can go to other big cities in Saxony, like Leipzig, for example. And also included in this ticket are the Mobi bikes. Those are free, these rental bikes that you can find all over the city. I know that you also have these kind of bike rental systems in Taiwan, in the bigger cities at least. And we also do have that, and students can use this for a certain amount of time per day for free. which is also pretty neat if you just want to get from campus to your flat maybe, or to visit a friend or whatever. You can just quickly hop on one of these bikes with your student ID card. The semester ticket or the semester contribution currently is 290 euros, but for the whole semester. So this is all that you pay for your studies, kind of for one semester, but there are no other costs that you have to pay to the university or the library or whatever. There are no tuition fees. And of course, you might wonder how much is the living costs here in Germany or in Dresden. In Dresden, I already mentioned it's pretty low compared to other cities of that size in Germany. We usually recommend about 750 euros per month for your basic living costs. So your rent, food, books, whatever you might need for your daily life. The majority of our students either live in a student dorm or in a shared apartment on the private market. Important to know is that student dorms are not owned by the universities in Germany. So if you go to a German university and you are interested in renting a dorm room, a student dorm room, you apply to the Studentenwerk. And Studentenwerk is a separate entity from the universities that take care of the housing, of the cafeterias and various other services. And you apply with them with your letter of admission for a room in one of their dorms. If you need any information on that, feel free to click on the links later on. If you need information on scholarships, please make sure to contact the DID in Taiwan. They also do have a lot of tips for that. You can also click on their funding guide where they list all the scholarships that might be available to you. That's also something that I highly recommend if you're interested in scholarships. And I have a small session again for our testimonial. I was just wondering in what kind of accommodation you actually live and how affordable life is. I mean, also in terms of eating, food. Can you afford having dinner every evening? Please just shortly comment on that.
So in the first couple of semesters, I live in the student dormitory. I live in a two-room apartment. I have a roommate, and the rent is pretty low. It's about 150 euro per month. And you also, one of the benefits is you can meet students from different countries, and also you can it's depending on the particular student dormitory you choose. It can be far away from the main campus, or it also can be very close to the main campus. And afterwards, I moved to a private apartment. And of course, the rent is relatively expensive, but I chose a single room apartment. So I have no roommate right now. So depending on the lifestyle you want to have, so I think the life in Dresden is pretty affordable. But one thing I would say is I recommend that students from Taiwan should learn to cook at home most of the time, because eating outside in a restaurant is very expensive.
That's a very good hint, because also this culture of going for dinner on, like, in the restaurant or on a market or whatever, night market. We don't have night markets here, unfortunately, in Germany, in Dresden. This is not something that students do all the time because it's really expensive. So that's a very good recommendation. Learn how to cook for a bit so that you don't have to spend so much money on restaurants. And I will quickly finish my presentation now, and then we can maybe answer some more questions. Okay. And this is also my last slide, just to sum up what I already told you about why you should study at TU Dresden. So the first is you get excellent quality in terms of your studies and also in terms of your life at very moderate costs. And you get a very beautiful and dynamic city to live in and also to study in, with lots of different people from all kinds of countries. What I also wanted to mention, and it's number 3 here, is we do offer a free prep course for German taught programs if you're interested in that. If you already have B2 German, so if you know some German but it's not up to C1, make sure to check our website for the free prep courses that we offer. We do have a lot of buddy programs and counseling services and mentors that will guide you throughout your studies. And lastly, we also do have a career service that I wanted to highlight, with special services for international students. So especially if you want to find a job after your studies, they do have a vast network with big partners. There are lots of big companies also situated in Dresden, like Bosch or Infineon or Siemens and Volkswagen and whatever. So they do have a network, and they also prepare you for the job market in Dresden, in Saxony, or in Germany. So this is something that I wanted to highlight. And that's it for my small presentation. Make sure to download it. I will leave this open, and maybe we can now tackle the questions that are coming in the Q&A.
Thanks, Julia. Thanks, Zhiwei. Thanks for the information and sharing. And maybe Zhiwei, you can also turn on the camera. So yeah, great. Thanks. 好，大家如果想要在更多获取我们今天晚上的简报，请你记得要扫描这个 QR code， 然后直接下载今天晚上的简报。好。There are a couple questions. I'll ask a question first. The first one, for the international student in the school, what's the ratio between maybe the Chinese, the student from China?
We have a lot of Chinese students. It's true for all the German universities. So I think we have about, I don't know the exact figure. I think it's 20% of the international students are from China. So we have a lot of Chinese students. We do have a lot of Indian students as well. And then it's Ukraine, Russia, Vietnam. So, but it's pretty mixed afterwards, yeah. But China is a big group. It's the same for all the German universities.
So same question to Zhiwei. Zhiwei, what do you feel, and then how's your class, and then are there many like different international students in your class? 有没有就是您的班上有没有很多就是国际学生，还是说特别？
没有，我叫智达啦。
哦，智达，对不起。
Okay. Yeah, I do have many students from different countries. They like students from, of course we have students from Germany, and from China, from India, and I also know a student from US. So yeah, I think for the study program, for my study program, you have a choice to meet students from very different, a lot of different countries, and more importantly, you can speak English with your students, without any problem. Hello,
So great, thanks. For next question, for the undergraduate program, are there any like English taught programs or major? No, right?
So for the undergraduate programs, they are all taught in German.
Next question, what if the German language is not enough or not up to the standard? Are there any, but other maybe conditions are qualified? Does the student still have the chance to get a acceptance or to accepted by the university and then maybe to go to study for the language school first?
Yeah, so that depends. It's something that I mentioned when I try to explain. If you already have some knowledge of German, you might be eligible for our prep course, or we might send you a conditional letter of admission if we think that you can get up to C1 until the studies would start. But that's very specific and really depends on what your level currently is. But if you have no German or you're like A1, we won't be able to give you a conditional letter of admission, but yeah, you find a list of what you have to do when on our website.
Right. So extend.
Or you can.
Sure. Go ahead.
No, you can also email us. So if you have any questions regarding that, please also feel free to email us with your specific case and the certificates that you already have.
Great. And so for extended question for that, so does the student have the opportunity or chance to study Germany when they are at the school studying already?
Yeah, so we do offer free language courses. I think you can learn 15 different languages for free, and not all of them, but you can choose. And there is also German. So if you're, for example, like doing a master's course at our university in English, you can still opt to do a German class to improve or to learn German. So yes, that's also encouraged actually.
Yes, I will say so. Okay, next question is maybe about the living cost or living fee, especially the winter is coming. And
yeah, I saw that.
Does the heating cost in the winter is normally expensive? I think I would like to get your view and also maybe get Jida's view and then from the real life students, you know.
Yeah, it depends. So it depends on what kind of heating is installed in your house and what kind of contract you sign. So in Germany, when you do your contract, this usually includes all the extra costs. You pay a certain amount for your heating, and they can't change this from one day to the next. So for me at the moment, I'm not that worried. But I don't know what it's like in the student dorm. But you are also living in a private accommodation or tubing, so I don't know. That's it depends. I would say what kind of housing you live and.
How about Jida?
Yeah, I agree with Julia. And the heating cost depends on the contract. So I moved here. I moved here about 1 year ago. So I remember in the contract it said, the cost will not, the rent including all the extra costs will remain the same at least for 1 year. But I expect the extra costs increase in the coming year. I don't know.
We'll see.
Yeah.
But see, yeah, we're more close inside the door, in the house, indoor. Yeah. Okay, next question. For the winter term application, when will the university or registration office will send out the acceptance letter or the notification? And are there any interview required?
Again, that depends on the program. So usually application starts at 1st of April and then it goes until middle of July if it's not an English program. And the earlier you apply, the earlier Uni Assist can check your application and forward it to us, especially if it's a restricted program. And the earlier we receive that or our faculties receive it, they can make a decision or send out the application at the letter of admission. For some programs that are restricted, they have certain deadlines they have to wait for in order to compare all the applicants, and then it might take 4 to 6 weeks. until they verify the applications and send out letters of admission or letters of rejection letters. There are usually no interviews. Some few programs do interviews. International relations, for example, they do have a very complicated, complex process with interviews, but the engineering programs like CMS, for example, they do an aptitude assessment, which usually includes forms that you have to fill in and upload as well, where you tell them what kind of previous experience you have. So it's not really like a test or an interview, but it's a form to make sure that you bring the necessary knowledge for the program. And this is all explained on their website.
Great. Okay, great. So next question, what's the percentage or rate of foreign students who stay and work after their graduation in Germany? Do you have any information for that?
It's very difficult to track. I just recently read an article that I think 30% stayed on, but that's from like 2011. So it's very difficult to track all the cohorts consistently, especially with all the data protection law in place now. So yeah, I don't have a definite number for TU Dresden. We can't track them this far.
Okay, maybe next year or later you can come up with the information maybe. Okay, the student Nadia is asking, she would like to doing a PhD at TUD, but she probably has the different program for her master. Is that possible for her to apply for
Switch?
PhD? Yeah.
So most of our PhD students don't do a PhD program. In Germany, it's not very common still to do this American system of doing a PhD program. You just enroll and then you are a PhD student. Mostly it's independent research, but PhD. So you find a supervisor and work under her or him and write your thesis within 3 or 4 years, and then get your PhD. So it depends on what your current master's program is, what you're interested in your PhD, if there's any mix or any overlay, or if there is a professor at TU Dresden, I would say yes, that sounds super interesting. I want to be your PhD supervisor. So in this specific case, my recommendation would be to send us an email with your ideas, and then we can point you in the correct direction.
Yeah. I see. Yeah. So I guess for this part, for PhD, I can just do a quick summary. For 给德国的博士班，基本上它是比较属于师徒制，所以如果您今天未来想要做您的博士班的研究的话，你必须要先找到看哪一个学校，或者是说Dresden 他学校里面刚好有哪一个指导教授，他的可能领域或者是方向研究是比较是对你有兴趣的，那你要主动跟学校还有跟教授来联络，看看教授愿不愿意接受你这个当他的学生，然后来进到他的博士班来进行博士课程。好 ，Okay, next question. If the university undergraduate program subject is different, totally different, so are there any like other requirement? For example, for undergraduate subject, he was in electronic engineering, but for the master, the student would like to switch to transport and traffic science.
I see it. Yeah. Again, usually a major switch is not possible. So if you are coming from a very specific bachelor and you want to do a completely different master, that wouldn't work. But as for the traffic and transport science department, they are very open. Some of their masters are very open, but it depends on what your actual bachelor was in. There is a lot of overlap between electrical engineering and transport and traffic sciences, right? They do electrical trains and stuff like that. So I'm thinking, yeah, sounds like a possibility. But in order to make sure send us an email with your concrete bachelor certificate, and we can forward it to the department and ask whether you would be eligible. I think it might be a possibility, but I'm not the one in charge of doing the decisions, making the decisions for the programs. So,
right, great. Okay, so for the student, please get in contact with Julia and then maybe send some information to the university too. Okay, next question is about the CMS program. So it's Zhida's professional. So the CMS program is research-oriented program with a thesis included. How is the ratio of instruction and student of the program? Or instructor, sorry. 志达有办法可以帮我们分享吗？就是您现在这个 CMS 的 program，师生比。
这个我还不知道，因为这个应该要去统计才知道吧，我没办法给一个数字。但是这个我说我们这个硕士班基本上课程的品质都蛮好的，
是，
然后老师或是助教的英文能力都非常好，都没有问题。但不知道比例我是不知道。
是。So does Julia know for the CMS program, how is the ratio of instructors and students of the program?
No, I actually I don't have all the ratios for all the specific programs that we have, but I think for the English masters it's quite reasonable because they have a restricted entry, so they don't have like 1,000 students starting the program. It's very restricted how many students actually start each semester. But no, I'm sorry. Write an email if this is really a concern for you.
Yeah.
We can sure. Research that and
sure. Yeah, so for the student, 我想你可以如果想要知道的话，你可以再写个信给 Julia， 那请 Julia 就是学校这边在这一端再提供给你相关的资讯。Okay, next question. Well, the question is probably is asking about in Berlin or Munich. So I don't know.
I read the question. I read the question.
I don't know. You have the idea or?
Yeah. So, but I know. So maybe just to shortly explain, in Berlin or Munich, there are a lot of students, a lot of people in general. Those are two big cities in Germany, and it's getting more and more difficult to find housing as a student and to find affordable housing in time for the start of the studies. So no, in Dresden it's not like that. It's still possible to find affordable housing, either by applying for the student dorms, but also on the private market. And it's not like in Berlin or Munich where they do interviews for houses or for flat shares, and you have long queues waiting to see new or available rooms or apartments. It's not like that in Dresden, so it's still possible to find housing and accommodation without such a big hassle, and it's affordable still. The rents are not as high as in Munich or in Berlin.
Okay.
I think I think there another way to find a housing is you can try to contact students which already study in Germany and see if he have some information, or maybe he plans to move somewhere other place. Yeah, so I think it's a possible way to find a house.
One last but not least question: if the student is studying for the undergraduate freshman in Taiwan already, but if he or she applying for Dresden, does that mean she can automatically connect to the sophomore year, the second year?
That also depends. We do have students that start in a higher semester, so they don't have to do the first 2 or 3 semesters again. But this is a very specific case, so we check every individual case that applies for entry into a higher semester. You can do that, but this has to be verified by the faculty or by the faculty. They check what have you already done in your previous studies, and then they make that decision based on the courses that you have already attended, because it's very different from university to university what people do in their freshman year and what they do in the sophomore years or later on even. So
okay, yeah, sounds pretty fair. And then 好，那如果各位还有其他问题的话，也欢迎直接可以跟我们校代直接来联络，或者是如果你想要跟我们的校友也联络上，也请你跟学校代表这边直接来联系。Thanks again to Julia and also to Zhida for tonight's very informative and very detailed presentation and information to our audience in Taiwan tonight. And thanks again, and I hope we will see you soon, and then maybe see you in person next year in Taiwan.
Hopefully.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Bye.
Okay, bye bye.
Bye.
今天谢谢大家的参与。那我们今天这一场这个德国的学校的说明会就到这边结束。下周五晚间7点钟，2022年 European Study Talk 留学英国、留学欧洲。部署未来要带给大家德国商业以及理工科技，还有意大利的专业美术留学资讯，跟德国的柏林应用科技大学跟意大利米兰新美术学院。那德国的国际导向跟合作伙伴这个数量跟质量啊，真的是让我们都非常的有目共睹。那以及还有意大利高等艺术跟音乐教育体系的这个专业课程，下个礼拜我们都想要即将邀请学校代表来介绍给你，让你如何知道强化专业跟人脉，以及要请学校代表告诉我们国际学生的留学跟职涯之路，两国的教育的现况跟优势，还有如何申请，以及还有奖学金等资讯。还有尚未报名的同学，请你务必要赶紧前往我们 EFT 的官方网站或者是我们的脸书上面来报名。那我们期待下周五再见到各位来参加我们的说明会。那在此我们今天晚上的活动就到此结束了，谢谢大家今天的参与，我们下周见，拜拜。